I was at Walmart the other day and I saw this actual product. And then when I was searching around on YouTube, I didn't realize that they had actually raised money on Shark Tank. So let's dive into their pitch.
Hi Sharks, my name is Natalie Holloway and this is my husband and co-founder, Max Kislevitz.
We're from Los Angeles, California, and we're seeking $400,000 in exchange for 10% equity in our company.
All right, so let's pause right there. So this isn't like a cardinal rule or cardinal sin per se, but generally VCs will avoid investing in family because it can be like really risky. Like their husband and wife team, what happens if they get divorced, right? Like that could kill the business overnight. The flip side is, talking out of the other side of my mouth, there have been some incredibly successful businesses founded by husband and wife teams like Cisco, which is a phenomenal business. The next thing is they're looking to sell 10% of their business for $400K, which means that they are valuing this company at $4 million post-money or $3.6 million pre-money. So right off the bat, that sounds pretty expensive and they're raising a decent amount of money, but let's learn more to see if they have justification for why they think they're worth that much.
Introducing Bala Bangles, the world's first
Stylish.
wearable weights. Adding our weights to your workout will increase heart rate, burn fat, and build muscle. So when you wiggle, there'll be a little less jiggle.
So whether you're channeling your inner yogi
Or training for that next marathon.
Bala Bangles will make you sweat in style.
So, Sharks, who's ready to get sweaty?
We will now pass out some samples for you all to try, and I'll show you how to put them on.
All right, so right off the bat, consumer-based product, and it's a one-time sell. But love the idea of taking an existing product. We're gonna make it a little more fashionable, if you will, and innovate on that space. Curious, I don't know how big the market is, but probably decently sized, and clearly like a very differentiated approach. Although, like, I would have questions around how defensible is it really? Like, at the end of the day, is it hard to rip off what they're doing? Probably not. They probably have some trademarks, maybe some patents, but honestly, patents are probably fairly easy to get around. And so really what you're backing from a competitive perspective is the brand and your belief that this team can build a meaningful brand. And then you also have some significant risks around supply chain, operations, dealing with retailers, a lot of those things. So those are some of the things that are immediately going on in my head of areas where I'd have questions.
Okay, guys, you're asking for $400,000 for 10% of the company, correct?
That's right.
That's correct.
So what are your sales?
So last year, which were the first 6 months in business, we did 260,000.
Wow.
And then this year so far, we're at 1.2 million.
1.2 million?
We'll end the year with 2.2 million.
Whoa.
Wow.
We just placed POs with Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom.
So we're 60% retail, we're 30% Amazon, we're 10% direct-to-consumer through our website. Our blended margin is about 58.3% gross, and we net about 49%. Having said that, our biggest challenge and why we're here is we've been trapped in this vicious inventory cycle. It's been difficult for us to keep the right level of product.
Yeah, inventory management is always a pain.
Yeah.
What did I say earlier? They were gonna struggle with inventory and supply chain, right? That's a big challenge. Okay, but let's talk about these numbers. So they did 260K last year and they're gonna do 2.6 million. That is pretty phenomenal growth. And they're saying their operating expenses are only 5%. So in that case, they are saying that total operating expenses are only around $60,000, which that's not enough money to cover salaries. So my guess is that total operating expenses are really at around 500K. And then you have to layer on top of marketing and what they're going to spend on marketing to build the brand and get it out there. Like retailers in many cases are going to require that they're spending a certain amount on marketing to help push customers to the product. So that amount alone could be $500,000 a year, leaving them with a real net income of maybe 100K. And I think even that might be generous. But look, this is a brand new business. As long as they're kind of breaking even, they're probably okay. Now, they did mention that they're running into some supply chain constraints, and that's why they're raising $400,000. That $400,000 could be really helpful from a working cash flow perspective. So one of the challenges they probably have is they're going out and they're getting Nordstrom to say, yeah, we'll buy your product. But Nordstrom's not going to pay them until the product shows up. And in fact, they're not even going to pay them when the product shows up. They're probably not going to pay them for another 3 months after that because they're going to get terms. So they've got this cash issue where they've got to have the cash on hand to go buy the product and have it manufactured. Then they have to wait while it gets shipped over. Then they have to deliver it. Then they have to wait another 3 months for it to show up. And during that whole time period, they really ought to be buying more product for more purchasers. And if they don't and they slow down at any point, their growth will hit a wall. So that's why they're here. And they're probably also hoping, at least I would if I were them, that one of the sharks can help them figure out their supply chain issues and improve them. So let's keep listening.
Well, landed, we're $12. We can get that down. Wholesale, we're $25, and retail, we're $49.
Good for you.
What are you going to use the money for?
2 key challenges. The first is inventory, which we spoke a little bit about. The second is we're not out there proactively selling because we're just trying to keep up with the orders. So we believe your capital will help us solve the inventory issue and then to bring in an external salesperson to essentially blitz the market so that nobody copies us.
So these numbers make a ton of sense, what they just said. So their cost for these bangles is $12. The rule for most retail businesses is kind of the rule of 4. If it sells for $50 retail, then you need to sell it to the retailers for half that. So in this case, 25. And then from there, you need to pay no more than half of that. So 12 to have it manufactured. So they're right in line there. And it's good that they can actually demand a $49 price point, differentiated product.
Wait. Why bring in another partner right now? I mean, you're going to make $2 million next year.
They need help to market this thing.
Yeah.
If I were to make this investment, how do you see me helping you? Besides
You
the
bring
money.
a tremendous amount of credibility to the product. To have you endorse this product, you know, there's no better.
So you,
And I would add
you
that-
would see me as a spokesperson for this product.
And you are literally, like, we looked at your Instagram, you're literally our Bala customer.
All right, guys, look, I like it because it's got fantastic numbers. I'm going to go at it a different way. You need capital for inventory. It's a classic problem. I'll give you the $400,000 as debt for 3 years, okay? And I'm going to charge you 7.5% interest on it. I want 5% equity in the company for doing this. You get the benefit of being in my ecosphere of Shark Tank companies, and you get Mr. Wonderful.
I think this is a super interesting offer because I think Mr. Wonderful recognizes that the equity here would be incredibly expensive for them to give up at this point. And really, they probably ought to be investing debt because debt is just such a good way to finance operating expenses like this, working capital expenses. Think about it, right? They need to buy the product so that they can sell it to Nordstrom's and Bloomingdale's, who they already have lined up. And so it doesn't really make sense to use equity to do that because you already have the customers. It's just amount of time that you have to survive. Now, I think the one challenge is that he wants 5% equity, which feels like a lot because for 400, they still have to pay the 400 grand back in 3 years, and they have to pay 7% interest. Whereas if they get the deal they want, they're only giving up 10%.
I like this a lot. I think it fits in my category very well. I've actually been using the 1 and 2 pound weights for my shoulder recovery in the past year, so I know all about it. I like the look and feel of it. I love your design. I will make you an offer, but I would like to bring in another shark with me. I'll give you 200,000 if you can get another 200 from another shark. But 10% is not enough for me.
Uh-oh.
No disrespect to anyone on this panel, but I make a lot of money just being a spokesperson and endorser of a brand. But I'm not going into this just as that. There's a lot more hustle that I'll have to be delivering. I would take...
This is true. She probably makes most of her money as a tennis player from sponsorships, probably millions of dollars. So
I would take 30%.
So she's offering $400,000 for 30% of the business, basically taking the valuation from $4 million to $1.3 million post, which means that really she was offering 0.9 million pre-money. So that's, I mean, she's basically taking the value of the business from 4 million to less than $1 million. It's pretty aggressive.
What did you decide,
What are you
Mark?
gonna
Would
do?
you be happy to go in with another shark?
I'm listening, right?
Okay.
Because I think you have to be fair to them first and foremost.
Yep.
We don't want to erode the value of the company below 3 million. And we don't want to give up more than 25% unless 2 sharks were involved, in which case we'd go up to 30 because we understand that you need a big enough piece of the pie to sort of make sense of the
So
investment.
you are saying you'll part with 30% equity if 2 sharks are involved?
At a $3 million value.
You want $900,000, so each shark has to put up $450,000 to do your deal. That's a big lift on your ass, my friend.
So for a consumer products business, that's pretty low, honestly. Which is why I think their original valuation of 4 million kind of made sense. Even that I think was a good deal. Now look, I think there are some benefits of going with a lower valuation. If you can get Maria Sharapova to invest and then to be a sponsor and celebrity endorser, like big companies will pay millions of dollars for that same level of exposure. So like in that case, yeah, she's kicking in potentially, if they can do this deal, 450K, but you're also going to get millions of dollars of equity from her as well. And so maybe it kind of offsets. But right off the bat, like, I don't know. I think the valuation here is a really good deal for the investors.
Maria, is Mark trying to woo you away from me?
I think
Is he? Is Mark trying to woo you away
Mark
from
wants
me?
to do a
From
deal
me.
as well.
What's the
I don't
deal?
like that.
What's the
You
offer?
know
not doing
what?
any work.
I'm sorry. I don't like that. I'm gonna make my own offer. So my offer is 500,000, 18%.
So 500,000 for 18%. So that's definitely a better deal than they're getting. Let's see. At least they're giving up less equity.
Wait. Okay, here's what we like to do. I agree with Maria. She can take this to the next level. We haven't even discussed globally yet. And that's where really she distinguishes herself from anybody else on the panel, right? And because we both believe in it, if you believe in a company, you don't nickel and dime the cash down. You go all in. And so what we like to do, Maria,
Yes.
okay, wanna
Yes.
make
Let
sure.
him
take you.
What we like to do is offer you the $900,000 for the 30%, just what you asked for.
You've got a deal.
Done.
All right, so I love what Mark Cuban did there, right? This is like classic VC thought, is why do you nickel and dime on a business where you think the potential is huge? If you liked that one, check out this other one that I did. It's pretty fun. And yeah, let me know in the comments below if there's any others that I might have missed that we should review together.